Well, we have seen some interesting movements this week, but not nearly as wild as they have been over the last several weeks. And frankly, I'm enjoying a little bit of calm. Hopefully it's not a calm before the storm. So we're going to talk about that some today. It is the 17th of April, Thursday. I hope everyone is doing well. Let's dive right into the numbers, y'all. Mortgage News Daily has a 30-year fixed rate conforming loan at 6.87 today. A week ago, we were a bit higher, 10 basis points higher, 6.97. Y'all, we'd been as high as 7.07 on the 11th. That's just a week ago Friday, so we are way off of those highs. However, Jerome Powell, chairman of the Fed, is never one to not spoil a party. So he had to step up and put an end to that bond rally with some comments that basically inferred that the Fed will be prioritizing inflation over and above employment. Y'all, we had been looking at jobs as one of the key components that drives economic activity and one of the earliest canaries in the mine with regard to the direction of whether we're in a recession or heading in that direction. And as we have seen some weakening in the employment numbers, you would expect the Fed to step in and accommodate that with a more accommodative policy and lower rates. The importance of the Fed's statement yesterday that they are going to be looking at inflation is a bit of a swipe at the Trump administration over tariffs. And that's a bit disappointing because Jerome Powell knows better than just about any person on the planet that tariffs do not cause inflation. They may cause an individual spike in pricing on the affected products, but inflation is only caused by one thing, and that is deficit spending by the government. If you're not printing money, you're not going to have inflation. If you're not spending more than you take in revenue, you're not going to have inflation. So Powell knows that, and to conflate tariffs with inflation by saying he's going to be targeting these future CPI reports and future PCE reports, which will reflect some increase as a result of these tariffs, and then use that as a reason to keep monetary policy tight, is a bit of a staking out of his independence against the administration, or at least that's my view, y'all. And it's a bit frustrating. I think we are going to see some softness in the labor markets. I think Powell knows that, and he's now set the stage to not necessarily act with accommodative policy around those eventualities. So what does that mean? Well, the CME FedWatch tool has taken a big change. They look at futures trading of the Fed, and we are now at a 66% chance of a cut at the June 18th meeting. Y'all, we had been in the 80s just prior to Powell's comments on that. So the market's priced out a big chunk of a likelihood of a cut prior to the June 18th meeting. There is now a 94% chance of a cut on or before the July 30th meeting. So we have effectively pushed back a month or so the market's expectation of cuts by the Fed. We will see how that plays out, y'all. I do think that behind the scenes you're seeing a little bit of headbutting between our Fed chief and the administration, especially as the president gets more and more vocal against Chairman Powell. He said this morning his termination can't come soon enough. I believe we've got 13 months left on Powell's term, and then he will be out. Dow's down about 300 points today. That's way off of how far it has been moving on the daily. So that's some good news going into an extended weekend. I think trading is likely pretty light as a result of that. More to follow next week, y'all. We do have a nice little reprieve in interest rates over the last week or so. Let's take it. I locked some loans yesterday at really good pricing. Rates were a little bit higher today. So, y'all, as we're timing the market, understand that timing is more important than even 30 different mortgage lenders that you might shop with. Daily variance is greater just from a market perspective than it is the variance between lenders. That's an important point to continue to make because we take great pride here in watching the market and timing these locks appropriately. We had some clients win big yesterday as a result of that guidance, and that's what we hope to bring to the table on every client that we work with. So we welcome and are blessed to have your referrals. Stay blessed, stay safe, and we will talk to you next week.